Tonight's program is presented for the benefit of the Parents Association Scholarship Fund. The concert will feature the three major performing ensembles of the music department: the Symphony Orchestra, Concert Chorus, and Symphonic Band, as well as the Gospel Choir and Renaissance Choir. In 1790, the impresario Solomon induced Haydn to visit London to conduct concerts there and to prepare several new symphonies for his visit. He went in 1791 and remained until May 1792, conducting orchestral concerts and presenting 6 new symphonies. His success in London was greater than any he encountered elsewhere. He became the man of the hour and was bestowed with honors. In 1794, he returned for a second visit to London, once again composing a set of 6 symphonies for London, which remained the greatest of his production in this field. Symphony number 100, The Military, is one of the Solomon symphonies and one of Haydn's most often heard. The first movement features the solo flute, oboes, and bassoons, along with the brass, timpani, and strings. Ladies and gentlemen, the Stuyvesant Orchestra will now perform the first movement of Franz Joseph Haydn's Symphony number 100. Before Mr. Rutkowski starts, there are plenty of orchestra seats down here for the people standing up in the balcony, if you'd like to come down and seek one out. descent, Alan Hovhaness has become one of America's most prolific and original composers. He has written over 400 works, including 62 symphonies. Hovhaness has integrated Romanticism, Eastern music, and Baroque counterpoint into his own original style. His music has been especially programmed recently in response to the disastrous earthquake in Armenia 1 year ago. Echmiadzin is the religious center of the Armenian Church. In this sacred symphony, composed in 1971, the first movement is a religious ceremonial with drums, chimes, and cymbals. It attempts to suggest the heroism of the priests of Echmiadzin, who in wartime refused to leave the church when the Armenian army told them to leave, but remained and rang the bells loudly. This gave the army inspiration and strength to defeat the enemy invaders. You will notice that the majestic theme which begins this movement is being upstaged by the improvised melodies of the trombones. These melodies are based on Indian ragas and demonstrate the influence that Eastern music has had on Hovhaness style. It also represents the composer's musical evocation of nature. Featured in this performance are solo trumpeters James Guilford and Ken Corwin. And solo timpanist Keith Weiser. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Symphony Orchestra, under the direction of Mr. Rakowski, will perform the first movement of Symphony Echmiadzin by Alan Hovhaness. now be a brief intermission. You have just heard the first selection of the Renaissance Choir. It is one of several rounds set to the word of tomba. The steady rhythm and mixture of three voices singing in simple harmony gives this round the quality of a folk song. The next selection calls out dancing and springing, singing and ringing. This German song by Hans Leo Hassler is a witty and lively piece which uses a dance rhythm to illustrate the festive nature of the lyrics. Famous for madrigal comedies, Adriano Baccheri is the composer of this next piece, Contrapunto Bestiale alla Mente, the counterpoint of the animals. In between two sections of Fa La La, Baccheri places a section in which animal sounds compete in counterpoint above a cantus firmus bass. The lyrics of the serious sounding bass, however, read, "Never trust a hunchback, the same goes for a cripple. If a braggart be good, write about it in the history books," emphasizing the mocking and humorous nature of this madrigal.
La
Je ne l'eusse dirai by Pierre Seton is a song in which some gossips tell of the latest town scandal. Ever so often, they break off and sing a la 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 for fear of being overheard by passers-by. Thomas Morley was an English composer who won his fame for his light songs, particularly his madrigals. In the next selection, My Bonnie Lass, he shows the typical English madrigal style of a simple melody with frequent repetitions and, of course, a chorus of fa-la-las. Listen closely to the lyrics of the next song, My Bonnie's Lass, She Smelleth, by P.D.Q. Bach, 1807 to 1742. P.D.Q. Bach was the last and by far the artist of the real Johann Sebastian Bach's 20-odd children. His reputation as the world's worst composer is well justified, as you will see in this madrigal written 200 years after the madrigal went out of fashion. have just heard is a variation on the traditional hymn, What a Friend We Have in Jesus. The song represents the faith that is instilled in the Lord and the hope that we have in His faith for us as His children. The Gospel Choir's repertoire is focused tonight on peace and unity that we hope for us as we enter the new decade. By the Waters of Babylon is a song that demonstrates the forgiving of past sins committed by humankind. The song "I Won't Turn Back" is a variation of the famous traditional hymn, Amazing Grace. This song exemplifies our need to find salvation from our Lord. It is a vow to turn away from all evil and to always look to our God's saving grace. As their closing song, By and By, the gospel choir wants to convey the never-ending need for everyone to truly understand God's work. Our understanding of the sacrifices He makes for us reminds us of what we should do for Him.
piety, and idealism played a major role in developing a very unique style of French music.
Accompanying at the piano will be Mr. Lucian Clay McDonald. Joining Mr. McDonald at the piano for this first selection will be our student accompanist, Kenneth Davidson. Mr. Pomerantz will conduct the chorus in its opening number, Psalm 150 by Cesar Franck. Next on our program is a choral folk anthem entitled Lonely Voices. The words and music were composed by William Hanks, with an arrangement by John F. Wilson. The song expresses the loss of spiritual unity in our large and very impersonal cities. The composer feels that we have isolated ourselves and therefore face lives filled with loneliness. He is particularly concerned with the lack of faith in society and feels that the way to happiness is a recapturing of that faith. Remaining at the piano, Kenneth Davidson will accompany. Mr. Pomerantz will now conduct the chorus in Lonely Voices. Next on our program is a traditional spiritual entitled Home in a Dot Rock. The special choral arrangement was provided by Marvin Curtis. In this vibrant song, you will hear lots of jubilation and spiritual elation expressed in lyrics and music. Also, there is an interesting combination of contemporary rhythms in conjunction with traditional syncopated rhythms of the past. We hope you enjoy it. Accompanying at the piano will be Kenneth Davidson. Mr. McDonald will now conduct the concert chorus in Home in a Dark Rock. For its concluding number to tonight's program, the concert chorus will perform the Hymn of Brotherhood by Beethoven. This choral piece is a special arrangement of the main themes from the last movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. The lyrics and themes were adopted by Joseph Wood, and the choral setting was especially arranged by Maurice Gardner. Greatly inspired by Schiller's Ode to Joy, Beethoven added a chorus in the final movement of his last symphony, immortalizing the words of the famous poem for posterity. Beethoven's mighty Ninth Symphony is dedicated to the brotherhood of man and to the attainment of supreme joy. Remaining at the piano, Kenneth Davidson will accompany. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lucian Clay McDonald conducting the chorus in the concluding selection, the Hymn of Brotherhood from Beethoven's Ninth Symphony.
Gather, heroes, sons and daughters, all who seek for common good. These flowers are Mr. McDonald and Mr. Pomerantz from all the students in the chorus choir.
Splendid new bandstand in New York City's Central Park, where the famous Goldman Band had given its summer concerts for many years. This concert version is the one used by Dr. Goldman for his own renditions at the mall concerts. The march derives its name from the park's spacious mall or promenade, where the bandstand is located, and where, on sunny days and warm evenings, thousands of New Yorkers gather to stroll or listen to the strains of melodious music. On the Mall is a musical suggestion of the enthusiasm and spirit of the huge audiences which attended these concerts. Its animation and cheerfulness are direct and spontaneous, and it never fails to arouse in the auditors a mood of brisk alertness, a definite indication of a truly great march. The enjoyment derived from joining in the singing and whistling refrains has further endeared this march to millions of music lovers. No march written during the last 25 years enjoys such enormous and deserved popularity. Ladies and gentlemen, the Symphonic Band, under the direction of Mr. Watrous, will now perform its opening selection, the Concert March on the Mall by Edwin Franco Goldman. Gaetano Donizetti, 1797 to 1848, was born in Bergamo, Italy, and took his musical studies at the Conservatory in Naples, where he first came in contact with the music of Rossini. He had an innate gift for mobile and singable melodies, and was an amazingly facile and spontaneous composer, rarely made corrections, and wrote nearly 70 operas. His first great opera was Les Îles d'Amour, The Elixir of Love, and Lucia di Lammermoor made him famous throughout Europe. The story of the opera, The Daughter of the Regiment, unfolds as follows. Marie, an orphan girl, is found and adopted by a regiment of Napoleon soldiers in Switzerland. She falls in love with a Tyrolean peasant, Tonio, who has saved her life. The regiment is willing to give its consent to their marriage if Tonio agrees to join the French army. Tonio is about to marry Marie when the news comes that Marie is the niece of the Marchioness of Maggio Rivolio, who orders her to come home. She returns brokenhearted, thinking only of Tonio. The aunt is about to arrange a marriage between Marie and the Duke's son when, at the 0 hour, Tonio, now an officer, arrives on the scene to claim his bride. Impressed by Tonio's love, the Marchioness gives her consent. Ladies and gentlemen, the Symphonic Band and a band transcription of selections from The Daughter of the Regiment. Franz von Zupe, 1819-1895, was born in Dalmatia, which is now a part of Yugoslavia. Before he decided on a career in medicine, von Zupe practiced medicine in Vienna. He studied music with some of the best music teachers of that time in Vienna, and his creative output consisted of music for over 200 plays and between 30 and 50 successful operettas. The music of von Zupe is outstanding for its youthful liveliness and buoyancy, its gaiety and temperament. His best works bear the mark of a happy inspiration and clearly show that the author was a highly gifted artist. The symphonic band will now perform a concert band transcription of the overture to von Zupe's operetta, Light Cavalry.
Mr. Scandura introduces the final and concluding part of the program, it is traditional at this time for me to express our appreciation to so many of the people who have made this evening possible. I am concerned about the general behavior of a very small number of people in the audience. We have had increasing problems in each of our productions this year. I thought that when the music department was going to perform, there would be a far more serious attitude on the part of everyone, and for the most part everyone of our students did respond to that. But the raucous catcalling at a symphonic concert is not appropriate. And the drinking of sodas with bottles on the balcony, one slipped off the balcony and nearly hit someone and could have killed them. That's inappropriate, and I'm deeply disturbed by that. We are in the throes of some very serious problems insofar as behavior is concerned, and the conditions, I might say, it's an embarrassment for me to say it, concern whether the fact of whether we will have any productions throughout the remainder of the year. More specifically, what has happened in the past last year at Sing. I will be speaking to the entire student body in the spring, at the beginning of the spring semester, and we will look to see whether it will be possible for us to continue programs. The kind of behavior we have had, even this evening, and I thought that would not happen, troubles me a great deal. I'm sorry, and my apologies to the music department and all of the performers for putting some wet blanket on what is otherwise a glorious evening of accomplishment and achievement. This is, as Mr. Scandura indicated, the 140th concert of the music department, and the proceeds go to the scholarship program of the Parents Association. It's a tradition at this school. Thousands of dollars have been generated by the Parents Association in support of our students, and this is one of those programs which enables them to provide the scholarships. The president of one of the co-presidents, Gwynn Conlon, reminded me that there is a Parents Association meeting next Tuesday night at 7:30. All the parents are invited. There will be a representative of the 13th precinct, the police officer who deals with community affairs. The matter of security in the area will be a major topic of discussion. The achievements of our student body in music always astound me, because the program we have here in the academic area is so demanding. It's always amazing to see what can be done with so little by way of facilities. I do want to express first my thanks to the stage crew for the sound, the lights, the stage sets. I will point out that the lighting we have here is deteriorating slowly. I think we have but one spotlight left. The lights here are all that remains on the stage, and what with the city's budget being what it is, I have a feeling we will, until we get to a new building, we will not see any improvement in that, and that puts something of a damper on the program as well. But thank you to those who served backstage in making the program possible. In the same breath, I would like to thank Mr. Scandura for a marvelous job, as he always does, in a professional way of commenting on the program. I think he will retire and take the job for WNCN or QXR announcing programs. There is a fine display of artwork up in the balcony, and the two art teachers, Amy Capel and John Sperry, have really been able to generate some marvelous work on the part of our students. The music department consists of but 3 teachers and a chairman, Mr. Lucy McDonald, Mr. Norman Pomerantz, and Mr. Rutkowski. What you see tonight then is the result of a very tiny department doing superhuman work. The work that Mr. Rutkowski did with the symphony orchestra is absolutely extraordinary. The range of the program, the Vaughan Williams piece, which was played with such lyricism, and the Haydn piece with such spirit, and the Hofenes speech piece, which is an extraordinary combination of musical genres. Mr. Rutkowski gets out of these young people something that I think no one else could do, and so I want to express my appreciation to all of the members of the symphony orchestra, and most especially their marvelous conductor, Mr. Joseph Rutkowski. The other tradition in the music department here is that there are not only the two musical groups, the Renaissance Choir and the Gospel Choir, which are run entirely by students, but there are many others. The range of the program here is so remarkable, and it only can come about because students do all of the work. And in particular, you saw this evening again 2 performing groups. There are many others. These are 2 of our best, and I did want to express first to the Renaissance Choir, which sang, as you saw and heard, in 5 different languages, to Yura Kung and Andrea Rosal, their conductors, thank them for a remarkable performance by the Renaissance Choir. The Gospel Choir has expanded this year remarkably and delightfully, and I was so glad to see so many young people on stage. And that required 2 student directors, Nicole William and Janice Barrio, and I want to thank both of them, and Jackson Chong as the assistant student director. And they had 2 soloists, Susan Karova and Linda Chow, and I want to thank them. And we also had an accompanist, David Clodomir, and all of the members of the Gospel Choir. You were all remarkable. Thank you. The concert chorus has grown now, so we don't have. I think we have no room on the stage. We'll have to have them come off onto the apron of the stage. Hundreds, it seemed, and under the direction of Mr. Lucian Clay McDonald and Mr. Norman. And all of the members, what seemed to be hundreds of members of that remarkable concert chorus. And finally, all of this, the entire program, I'm remiss in not thanking one other member of our staff who is responsible for much of what goes on in this auditorium seemingly every day of the week, and that is Mr. Vincent Grasso, who is in charge of all of the activities and is taping this broadcast for this program this evening. But finally, all of this is put together under the remarkable leadership of an extraordinary educator and musician who has earned the respect of every member of the entire staff, as well as all of the musicians who appeared on stage tonight. And we are grateful not only to all of the members of the symphonic band, who are absolutely remarkable, but to their conductor and leader, Mr. Max Wadler. And so, again, my apologies for my opening remarks. I would again like to thank Mr. Scandura for what he has done and have him introduce the concluding selection of this evening's performance. Thank you very much.
I was a bit remiss. I forgot to include on the back of the program our gratitude to the security staff who stayed late this evening to help with the control of the building, and one student from the orchestra, John Fass, who spent untold hours transcribing some of the parts for the last selection we performed, The Daughter of the Regiment. It was scored for an Italian band arrangement with totally strange instruments that we never heard of, and John Fass took it upon himself to rewrite this thing in manuscript, and I'm very grateful to you, John, because without your assistance, we would not have been able.
Irving Berlin was born in Temun, Russia on May 11, 1888, and emigrated to the United States in the early 1890s. His early musical training consisted of singing with his father in a synagogue choir. After his father died, he ran away from home and earned a precarious living singing on street corners for pennies. He began his songwriting career in 1907 and went on to write over 1,000 songs and numerous musical shows, all too numerous to mention here. Jerome Kern, a great composer in his own right, said of Berlin, "Irving Berlin has no place in American music. He is American music." On May 11, 1988, the American Society of Composers and Publishers and Carnegie Hall honored Irving Berlin with a gala concert to commemorate his 100th birthday. On September the 22nd, 1989, America's greatest songwriter passed away. Tonight, the Symphonic Band pays tribute to Irving Berlin with a medley of his greatest patriotic hits. 1. This is the Army, Mr. Jones. 2. Give me your tired, your poor. 3. This is a great country. 4. God bless America. The lyrics to God Bless America are printed at the bottom of page 2 on your program, and the audience is invited to sing along with the Symphonic Band. Ladies and gentlemen, the Symphonic Band, Mr. Watrous, and the concluding selection on tonight's program, a salute to Irving Berlin.